I'm going to tell you today a little bit about Google Earth. This is the studio project that I've decided to do for this class. Um, I am doing a virtual tour of Indiana University using Google Earth. It's been pretty fun playing around with Google Earth over the past few weeks. Played around on both the desktop application on my Mac as well as even looking at it on the iPad. And there really are some pretty interesting educational features with Google Earth, and you can really look at some pretty interesting stuff both on the Google Earth and then also as you expand into the Google Sky and some of the other features where you can even look at the moon or things like that. But to start off here, I want to go ahead and I have added a few places in Google Earth, and basically that was kind of the first step for this project, was to actually go in and outline and set up some different places so that I could zoom around here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a little fly in here to Bloomington, Indiana. With most of these places, when you set up places, it'll give you a little information block here. So this is a little bit of a hybrid view of Bloomington, Indiana. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit more to look at the Bloomington campus of Indiana University. So notice some of the things that I have done here is just adding some of the different tags here. These little push pins are the ones that I have added. I've actually was able to, you can change the settings. So on this one I was able to upload a picture instead of just the pin. But let's go ahead and start on our tour here. So this could be used for somebody that's a prospective student just trying to get a feel for the university, and you can actually set up and record these as tours for in Google Earth. So the first place that most people would start off when doing a virtual tour or any kind of a tour is often they would come and enter through the sample gates. So the sample gates is an actual picture taken from the street view on Google Maps. So just like you might see on Google Maps, and you can see this exit street view. So when I exit this, it'll actually take me back into the Google Earth, kind of more of a 3D image, and I can actually zoom in a little bit and come in through the sample gates, and you can notice what happens as you kind of go through it. It takes me back into the exit street view. So the next building that I want to take a look at is, I want to look at the Indiana Memorial Union. So we're going to go ahead and click on the Indiana Memorial Union to come over here, and some of the information that I was able to find on the IMU is that it's the second largest student union in the nation. Obviously it has there's a full hotel, bowling alley, food courts, many stores, salons, lots of different things there, theaters, so a very large place here. One of the things that's interesting on the Google Maps is some of these other buildings have actual 3D models of them. The Indiana Memorial Union does not have them, and I did not create these models. These models were created by other people here at the university, but you can kind of see, in order to get a view of it, you need to go back to the aerial view of the Indiana Memorial Union to get the satellite view. So the next place that I want to take a look at is the Beck Chapel, because this is another interesting feature of Google Earth. So when I click on Beck Chapel, it'll zoom over here, and one of the interesting things you might notice here is, as it was zooming in, you see this little ball. Well, what that actually means here is that someone has actually taken a 360-degree photo inside the Beck Chapel, and they have uploaded it and put it in here to Google Earth. So this can be like you're actually inside the chapel. And now notice once I'm in the chapel, I can actually scroll around and I can see what the inside of the chapel looks like. And so this is, you can take a look around, you can look up at the ceiling. And so really pretty interesting that you can actually enter into this building and no version as well. And I should mention that the 3D models that are on the Google Earth here, those have been created using Google SketchUp, which is another free program that you can download. And I have played around with it a little bit, and it does some really amazing things. Obviously, you can see some of these 3D models that we'll look at here in a second. For example, the Wells Library. They can get pretty detailed, and you can really see some pretty amazing things here on the campus. So here is a 3D model of the Wells Library. Notice you can look around a little bit, and you can kind of zoom in a little bit to get some of the different structural features there of the Wells Library. The next thing I wanted to show you is it's hard to talk about IU without thinking about the sports. So if I zoom over here to the Memorial Stadium and Assembly Hall, we can see a little bit of an aerial view of the Memorial Stadium where the football team plays, as well as the basketball arena. Indiana University is home to wonderful sports traditions and great place to catch a good football game or a basketball game, as well as many of the other track and field, swimming and diving, men's soccer. All of these different sports have been very successful. Another program that has been very successful and is consistently ranked among the very top in the country is the Jacobs School of Music. And the music school, I just clicked on that and pull up a little bit of information here. And this information is all from Wikipedia. But I can look at some of the different buildings here. This is the Musical Arts Center where they have many of the performances. This is one of the other music buildings, but many I think there's at least 5 buildings that are dedicated to the Jacobs School of Music. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour of Indiana University and a little quick look at Google Earth. I was, definitely has some things, makes you a little nauseous if you play around with it too much, but it really has some interesting features and some very interesting educational things that could be used. Even some of the different things, like for example, you could look at the Google Trees, and you can look in the Amazon rainforest, and they've mapped out some of the different kinds of trees that you can actually look at, find out more about the Google, what types of trees there are in some of the different cities in the country. I previously mentioned Google Sky and Google Moon. You can actually look at some of the Mars rover projects and see pictures from the Mars rover. Really some pretty interesting stuff. And I hope you've enjoyed this tour. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.